Well, good evening, Denver Broncos country. It is the Denver Bronco Roundup. I am your host, Keith Brugman, brought to you by the Rocky Mountain Sports Network and sponsored by Willow Seasonings and Blends. Guys, we got a lot going on. You can tell I'm like going 100 miles an hour right out the gate. So I want to bring in all of our hosts, man. We got a full panel. Window's going to be full tonight, guys. Hope you're ready. Bringing in first, we'll bring in the Dutchie. We'll bring in Mr. Jody Moncrief and our recent addition as of late, Mr. Trevor Salzman. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. How are we all doing? Oh, I guess I'll start with Albert. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. This is a beautiful day here in Missouri and over 80 degrees still, so it was wonderful.
Man, you're living the good life, man. Living a little southern, southern latitude, I think that is. Yeah, southern latitude than where I'm at, man, because we're not getting quite that weather. How's the weather where Jody's at, buddy?
It's been rainy today, mid 50s.
And how are you doing, man? Welcome.
Much better than last week. Winds make the week a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah, I think I got a bigger smile on my face. Certainly got a little more pep in my voice, man. It's always easier to get in here on a day like today and be able to talk about a win, because we'll be end up talking a little bit about that. Talking about winners, we got Trevor Salzman, man. Welcome again to the show, buddy. How you doing?
Doing pretty good, guys. I'm just, again, it's winning week. Coming off that win, it's really good to dive deep into a win and not have to talk about VJ firing for once, right? At least right now. But,
yeah. Might come up on the show. You
yeah,
never know.
Yeah.
Not sure if he's off the hook quite yet, but hey,
Yeah.
man, at least it's not pitchforks.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean? So, doing a lot better this week. We can all appreciate that. Big smiles, a little bit of pep in our step, man, and raring to go, man. And just to start off, guys, wanted to give Albert, who wasn't, present for our post-game show, didn't get to gloat about this Denver Broncos comeback. Didn't get to gloat about putting a little tally in the win column. So, Albert, man, we talked a little bit when we did our post-game. Disappointing first half, fantastic second half. Just give me your quick assessment on the Chicago game. We'll get a few more comments from Jody, Trevor, and you guys all out there watching and listening as well if you want to talk a little bit about Chicago. But let's give it up for Albert first, get his assessment. Appreciate it very much.
So it really looks like that the Denver Broncos are a team of two halves. One half they are there, and one half they are not there. What I do appreciate is that the fourth opening drive for the Denver Broncos, and we have a TD again. So that is something we haven't seen in the last 7 years. Four games, 4 opening scores, and then not just field goals. So that is really exciting. Russell Wilson is not the problem. That's in my opinion. He's doing pretty decent, to good. I think he's a top 10 quarterback at this moment, and I can give some more stats later on. But he is not. I don't think he is a problem.
Yeah.
The defense is the biggest culprit that we have on this team. If we had a better defense, I think we would have been 2-2 or maybe 3-1.
Amazing, man. It's here we are sitting, just so quickly removed from having a Denver Broncos defense that was off the charts, nailing down, locking them down. It was the backbone of this team, and so far this year, don't want to point fingers, as Trevor said, we're trying not to do it right off the bat, but that being said, man, a lot to be desired on the defensive side of the ball so far. We're able to pull it together in the second half of that game, Albert, and we had to be a little bit excited about that. We're able to kind of shut down Chicago after only one score early in the second half for them, and then after that, locked them down pretty dang good. Now it is a Chicago team. We talked about that as well, so it's nothing to get jumping up and down about. Just a quick few comments. Want to get to those guys, and then we'll get back around the horn. Jody and Trevor, if you want to jump in on any Chicago comments, or maybe we spur on Albert's thoughts as well. But first and foremost, Mr. Michael Ronquillo, the Ronk, coming in here over on YouTube, saying, "Good evening, Keith, Jody, Albert, and Trevor. Love you very much, right, Michael. We appreciate you so much. Appreciate you coming in here. Always a strong supporter of the Denver Bronco Roundup, and always good to see your face, man. And he also gave me a fantastic reminder, guys. If you didn't know, any of those YouTube subscribers become eligible for for this. It's a little giveaway that we have, YouTube only. Jonathan Harris signed training camp memorabilia. We're going to be giving that away to one of you guys out on YouTube. So make sure that you're jumping over on YouTube, liking, subscribing, getting those notifications as well, all set up. It helps us out a ton when you're on both platforms. We'd love to see you a lot more of you over there as well. But I will get caught up on all our Facebooks comments as well. One thing I'm going to do, guys, and this will be really quick. I'm going to drop this in the chat, guys. I found this out. If you guys haven't seen this at some point, this is how you get to StreamYard and allow them to, I guess, use your profile and give you all your information. So I'm dropping that in the comments, dropping that in as a link. Go over there and hit that link. It'll allow, again, StreamYard to use your Facebook profile. So I don't have to kind of keep jumping back and forth, but I want to make sure that we get to everybody. So first and foremost, what's up, fellas? Go Broncos. It's good buddy Jeremy coming in here from Montana as well. Good buddy of mine. Appreciate it so much. David Slade coming in here saying, good evening, fellas. We got Kenny coming in here saying, evening, fellas. Congrats on the Yerlin, by the way. Nice hat, Albert. I think I told you that not last week, Albert, man. I'm digging that hat as well, man. So nice shout out there. So who else we got? We got the fantastic Michelle Knoppers, always coming in, always supporting, saying evening, gents. Lots of people coming in. Appreciate you guys so much. We got Armando coming in. I think that's a new name for us, and saying hello, fellows. So appreciate you guys so much. I'm going to go ahead and I'll drop this back down. Jody, really quickly, any more thoughts from Chicago that just jump out in your mind? Maybe a little bit post cool down after that game.
The big takeaway for me, besides the win, is got to clean up pre-snap penalties. It kills drives. It takes points off the board. And this whole line, especially Mike McGlinchey, you were the prized free agent signing. You've given up 31% of all pressures on Russell Wilson. You are committing a crap ton of pre-snap penalties. You are falling right in line with the list of horrible right tackle signings so far. And this coming from a guy that wanted Mike McGlinchey here and has supported him all the way back in college. So he better pick it up.
Yeah. Now, a little bit on the pressures. Maybe I can expect a little bit of pressures. He's not known as the best pass blocking. Penalties, though, I'm not going to give you a pass on that one. And the one thing, like I said, Albert kind of missed it. Maybe you guys at home missed it if you didn't catch the post game. I was really impressed with the way they were able to, this Broncos team was able to overcome the penalties in the second half. We had a penalty on Bowles. We had a penalty on McGlinchey. We kept drives going. We put points up on the board. And I think that was really key to, kind of creating the backbone of this team, at least on the offensive side of the ball. Trevor, any thoughts on this Chicago game before we kind of move on from that? Now that, again, post cool down, had a little time to reflect. Maybe you have a little bit of time to go back and watch a little bit of film.
Yeah, I would say one of my biggest thoughts would be, halftime adjustments. We've finally seen it from Sean Payton. It's something we haven't seen since he arrived here in Denver. That's just something that stuck out to me right away. Denver was able to readjust from the first half to the second half, adjust well, and they needed to win. Hopefully we're able to see that more consistently going forward. But I think, overall, want to see McLaughlin get the ball more. I think he's a clear playmaker on this team. You can see the talent on this kid. He's going to give him the ball, and see what he can do with it. He's got a lot of speed. And I think I've seen something interesting today on Twitter. P. Ryan and Williams are kind of known as the same backs because they can do the same thing. So McLaughlin can give you the speed that you need. And I think that's something hopefully that they are looking at going forward. Moral victory, but I don't think that we're satisfied yet going forward.
Yeah, I can't be satisfied. Like I said, not the biggest guy on the block that you just knocked down. You know what I mean? It's kind of the pipsqueak on the block. You know, if you're being the bully now, and you know the Broncos still have a lot to prove. It'll start next week, and I think that's a great kind of transition. Before we get into next week and exactly what who our competition is, what we need to do, figure guys, we would take just a few minutes and kind of back up and do a little reflection. Like I was telling all our hosts here on the show tonight, those of you listening and watching at home, you know, it used to be that there was a 16-game season. You got through the first 4 games, you look back at the first quarter of your season, you know, and you take it in chunks of quarters. A lot of coaches used to think in that regard as well. So, you know, I don't think it's that far off. I know that if we added one additional game, but we're going to kind of look at this first quarter of the Denver Broncos. I'll mix it up around the screen. I'm going to start off because I know you had something a little bit planned. We already got some people in the comments jumping in on it as well. Albert, start off with the quarter assessment on this offense. The first quarter on this offense. Like I said, I know you have a little bit of a backup on this as well, and we can talk about all parts and pieces. But what do you think about this offense so far through the first 4 games?
I think our offense is doing pretty good. If we look at the stats of quarterbacks, Russell Wilson is number 8. And just to be sure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, number 9 in passing yards. Russell already has over 1,000 passing yards, and Tua Tagovailoa has 1,300. But that is against a game with a Broncos defense that was horrible. So if you diminish that a little bit, then it's more in regular realms. Matthew Stafford is number 2 in passing yards. But here we are. In touchdowns, Russell Wilson has 9.
Wow. I don't think most people realize or expect that.
I have a little stat on that. I heard today it took him. He didn't throw his 9th touchdown pass till week 14 last year.
There you go,
and week 4 this year.
There you go, man.
So yeah, he only has 2 interceptions. If we that compared to the best quarterback in that everybody thinks is the best quarterback, to Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes has 1,006 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. If you even want to look at whatever the scores are, the
quarterback rating, or
the rating. Tua has 114. Russell Wilson has a rating of 106.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes 92.
Wow. Quarterback aside, because I agree with you, and we were on here even post-game kind of praising Russell Wilson, what he's been able to do, and we're talking a little bit about his turnaround. When you look at wide receiver, when you look at running back, how you feeling there, bud? And then I'm going to get the rest of these guys involved.
So with the running backs, yeah, unfortunately Williams is now injured, but that should give McLaughlin the opportunity to get more reps, because 17 reps for McLaughlin, I believe. And what about Mims? They need to have way more reps per game, and not 16 or 17 per game, because those 2 are the 2 biggest threats for all defenses from what we have seen so far.
Yeah, I'd have to agree, man. More reps for guys a little bit further down on this roster, guys that we didn't expect maybe they would be getting these reps at the very beginning of the year, but have certainly shown out and have leapfrogged some guys. Just getting caught up on a few comments, and I'll go back down to Trevor and Jody as well. Loving Russ's stats, by the way, came in from Michelle. This is Greg Smith coming in saying, good evening, Broncos country. Denver Broncos for life. Of course, buddy. Got to love our Broncos, and feels a lot better loving them after this win, man. Hopefully we can continue that on. Kenny comes in and says, does McLaughlin and Mims have to be more involved next week? And I think we'll get Yeah, a lot of head nodding here, guys. You might be able to get your answer right there. Or is it okay to stick with the veterans? We'll get to that a little bit more when it comes to the Jets prediction. I should read a little bit further ahead on these comments. This is our good friend Kurt Valente. Since we're getting both Kenny and Curtin here, just do want to say that they are part of the fantastic K&K Sports Show. They're over on the East Coast. They have an East Coast flair, but they cover sports from coast to coast. He said Kurt's coming in here, and believe me, he's a big Daniel Jones fan. I'm just reading a little bit ahead in here. What's up, boys? No more quarterback talk. Remember when people wanted Daniel Jones over Russ? Yeah. How's that going? If we are going to have an average defense, this team wins. So, also coming in and love the Jody's losing it in the background, man. So I'm gonna have to watch these comments here. So Michelle coming in and saying Russ is killing it once again. So yeah, Russ. Hey guys, I'll be honest. Just real quick, I was tough on Russ. Said that Russ needed to have a game like he had in Chicago, and he had that game in Chicago. Put him on the Broncos on his back, led him to a victory. That's what $250 million quarterbacks do. Not just be mediocre, not needing all these pieces and parts and things to go right around you all the time in order to have a winning outcome. Sometimes that guy that's getting paid a ton needs to step up and he needs to get the job done, and I really felt that Russ did that. So absolutely. Going forward, we build around Russ the right way, and that's that one's coming in from Kurt as well. Jody, I'll go to you next, man. I'm getting a little bit hot on this mic. Sorry about that, guys. Jody, your assessment of this offense in the first quarter.
I think Russ looks much improved, but there are still a lot of things that need cleaned up. Pre-snap penalties, that's the big one for me. Find a run game. It's been very inconsistent the whole year. Maybe McLaughlin is the spark for that. I mean, when he came in, he was ripping off some big runs. Hopefully that's the spark. And get more consistent. We don't score a lot in the second half. Yes, last game we did, but we have not been a second half team. Get more consistent. But it's coming together. You could see it and I'm hoping that they build off of the second half performance last week and keep leaning on Russ because you can tell he's starting to feel more comfortable in the pocket. Only gave up 1 sack last week. The offensive line. Russ knows where his checkdowns are. And all this. Well, he wouldn't have done that. He would have done this in Seattle. He's not asked to do that. He's not asked to do the spin out. And one play comes to mind last week. He tried to do a spin out and almost like caught himself and like almost made himself fall down because he like stopped himself about a quarter of the way in the spin. I mean, it's still old habits.
Yeah.
But you can see that he's working on them, and like the whatever drive that was when they scored the last touchdown, he was stepping up in the pocket. He was throwing lasers on the slants to Judy a couple times. That pass to Little Jordan Humphreys to get the first down. Even the touchdown. The Sutton for the touchdown. Those are strikes. Those are NFL type throws that not a lot of quarterbacks can make like that. So.
Yeah, it was, for all the stress that's been put on Russ through these games, not being able to perform in the second half, still putting up stats through those games, and then finally coming through, it's been good. And, sometimes it's been despite maybe what the coach or the players on the field are doing around him. Trevor, your first quarter assessment of this Denver Broncos offense, and we'll start back with you on the defense, man. You've been sitting here for a while.
The offense, I mean, they're much more improved than they were last year. Sean Payton, I think, he's came in and definitely turned the scripts around a little bit on this offense, and we're starting to see that a little bit. Not as consistent as we want to. Again, we're seeing kind of a little bit of mixed baggage with the offense. I think at times it looked very good. Like they could be a top 10 offense, and at times it looked like they could be a bottom 10 offense. So it's just, I mean, they can. That's what we've seen so far, and I mean, they're a top 10 offense in points right now, scoring 25 points a game. So I mean, you can see it right there. Russ looks improved. You know, hopefully, I think definitely, and I think that's definitely a thing that's Russ and a Sean Payton thing. It's not. I don't think it's one side or the other. When it comes to Russ improving, just in general, I think Russ knew that he needed to. He knows what he's capable of. But I'm not surprised that we're seeing this offense score at a high rate, and I just hope that we want more consistency from that side of the ball.
Yeah, to that end, last year was the 20 points, and we could, or 18 plus points, and we could have won how many games? You go down this schedule so far, and what we put up on the board, even our worst game, we ended up putting up 20 points. It was more on the defense. What we did against Washington, having to put up over 30. What we did in this game in order to do it, it's tough to point any fingers at this offense in the first half. Just getting a couple of comments caught up real quick. Going back to that game against Chicago, fourth down stop. This is Michael Ronquillo, by the way. The fourth down stop for the Broncos helped them kick the winning field goal, and safety Kareem Jackson interception to help the Broncos get their first NFL win their first NFL game. Sorry about that. Yeah, great assessment. I think that was huge for this defense in order to try to, get into this game and get going. Kurt's coming in here and saying, Russ, Javonte, McLaughlin, Mims, Judy, we need a legit tight end and build that O-line. Kenny, I already put this up. Was just saying for the record, I don't agree. I don't disagree with Kurt at all. Laugh out loud. So, this is coming in from Leanna saying, hello, guys. Didn't that win just boost our spirits? Let's keep it going. Beat the Jets. It's doable, and we'll be talking about that and just a little bit here, beating the Jets in just a few moments. So, and then the great sis coming in here and saying, Albert, Jody, Keith, great job. Or Albert, Keith, Jody, great job. Trevor, you'll get yours. Don't worry. It takes a while. Sis is not that type of guy. He's not going to give you praise right off the bat, but I think it's coming, man. I think it's coming. So, show them what it's all about. Talk about this defense in the first quarter.
Yeah, the defense has been just drastic. I mean, how can you give up points and make these quarterbacks around the league look like? I mean, they're Hall of Famers. Every quarterback we play, they look very good against us, and it's a concern. And I don't think it's just a talent thing. I don't think it's just a coaching thing. I think it's a mix of both. The Broncos right now are giving up 37.5 points in the NFL to opposing teams, and that's the last in the league. I mean, you're not going to win with that regardless. And so at some point in time, we're going to have to see Sean Payton take a stand and say, VJ was the wrong hire. We're promoting from who, or when that, it's just from who or when that's going to be. I think I don't know what it's going to take to get this defense turned around. I just, is it Simmons or is it Locke coming back or whoever, K'Wan Williams too? Is it bringing those guys back that's going to improve this defense, or is it not going to improve at all? We'll find out. But it's just been a disaster for the defense side of the ball, and it's really hurt this team. And like I said, I think it was Albert said earlier, we would have been a better record, a winning record right now if we had the defense, even just midpoint, ranking in the NFL, and we're last, and it's really hurting our team, and it's going to be hard to build around that going forward.
Yeah, and now I didn't look at Chicago's total full output as far as points are concerned, right? We all know what the Raiders are doing. But that being said, Washington almost beat Philadelphia. We also played Miami, who we all know put up big points on us, but we all know that they're a big point offense. Statistically speaking, right now, if you just look at it, the Broncos are playing in for this. But I want to ask this of all three of you. How much would you factor in the fact that we've been playing teams that are capable of putting up points, 30-plus points, into the fact that this defense is struggling, or is it the defense that's struggling and giving up a lot of points? How do you weigh that, Trevor? And then I want to get just quickly on that, and then I'll get Jody and Albert, and then we'll go around the horn for the rest of the assessments. So
I think it's the defense that's just doing the struggling part of things, because again, you've seen these quarterbacks. I mean, they're looking back to standard when they're playing other teams, but when they're playing the Broncos, they're looking like Hall of Famers out there. And it's just at some point in time, you got to break that streak. And I mean, we'll see what Zach Wilson coming up against the Jets. We'll see what he does. I mean, but he had a pretty good game against the Chiefs. So it's just, I mean, what is he going to do against the Broncos? How much better is he going to be, or is he going to be worse? Right now, you have to think, it might be better. It's probably going to be better because every quarterback we played, I mean, they've looked really good to this point. Even Justin Fields the other day.
Justin Fields looked pretty dang good. Put up really record statistics in his best game as an NFL pro in that first half. So, Jody, just really quickly, how much do you put this on the defense giving up points and thus these offenses look better? Or is it these offenses are big-time offenses like Miami, Washington putting up big points against Philadelphia? Are we just going up against staunch competition?
No, I think it's strictly on the D. The Raiders are not a good offense. Washington, really not a good offense. Miami is elite. Chicago, not a good offense. So I'm putting this squarely on the D, squarely on Vance Joseph, squarely on players that, Miami game, 24 missed tackles. That's just unacceptable.
Fair enough, man. Albert, round us out, man, and your thoughts where this all lies, man. You've already heard the question.
Scheming of the defense, and it's all coaching. And no matter, we have several key players injured, but still, with decent coaching, you should be able to take care of that. And right now, I think it is the biggest problem is coaching.
All right, man. Jeremy just coming in saying classic VJ defense zone. Jody, going over to you, man, talking about this defense in a quarter assessment, man. What are your thoughts, man?
F.
He's like, I'm just going to go straight to grades and I'll go to the bottom, baby. So go ahead, man.
They've done nothing well. 32nd in scoring, 32nd in total yards given up, 30th in pass yards. It's been atrocious. We can't stop anyone. Raiders game, they had the ball with like 6 minutes and they ran the clock out. Didn't give the O a chance. Same with the Commanders game. I mean, you're up 21-3, 18-point lead, and you blow it. Not much to say about the Miami game. The whole thing was trash from the beginning. And then you made Justin Fields look like an all-pro. I heard a stat today. This was the first game since somewhere around Christmas that the Bears were even close within one score. So they've got a lot of work to do. My only hope with this D is you're getting all-pro Justin Simmons back. Probably the best slot cornerback in the NFL, K'Wan Williams, Mike Purcell, Josie Jewell, Baron Browning, who I was really excited for this year. Frank Clark, a good rotational guy. You got a lot of guys coming back, and hopefully that, along with some plays you made late in the game, Benito and Cooper, sack, touchdown, interception late by Jackson, you can build off of that.
Yeah, I was going to say, after that, I guess the closeout of that game, to quote one of my favorite bands of all time, Tenacious D, wouldn't you give him an F+?
F+. The only guys that and the MVPs on the D, I'll give Cooper and Benito. They both have played solid, especially Benito. I mean, he's really. I mean, he came in and is now the starter on this team, taking over for $70 million Randy Gregory, who has done absolutely nothing this year. And when Brownie comes back, I think he falls down the depth chart. He's got some soul searching to do. What 1 year does, because before his injury last year, he, in my opinion, was Denver's best defensive player. And now he might be their worst as a starter.
It's fair enough, man. Getting a little bit caught up on the comments. Well, first we started off with Kurt saying, damn right, Jody, 100% on the defense, and VJ comes in and says, had the lead in the fourth quarter versus the Commanders, versus the Raiders and the Commanders. Close it out defense. That's on our defense. Should be 3-1 easily. And following it up, this is Armando actually coming in and saying lack of communication on our defense. That was almost said post game as well. In this last game is, hey, we came together, we talked, we had better communication. Not to go back on this game because I want to get Albert's assessment on the first quarter and how this defense has performed and any other pieces that we can put in there. So,
isn't it funny? Last year the defense was complaining that offense couldn't stay on the field, and now the tide is turned around. The defense cannot get the offense on the field, so they are playing longer times again, and our offense is. If they would run a little bit more, that would help with the time of possession, and probably that will help the defense as well to stay a little bit longer fresh. But in this case, this year so far we have seen it is on the defense itself that they stay on the field that long.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, great assessments all the way around, offense, defense. I'm going to give you my 2 cents, and then we'll kind of move on to the Jets and the future for the Broncos as well. I was, from the get-go, hopeful on this offense. It's nothing like I expected it to be. I expected, as we all did, big run game emphasis, big 2 tight end sets. We've brought in a fullback. Really expected this offense to be completely based off the run game and, take opportunities in the pass game, especially those opportunities that kind of build up as they start coming down in the box more and more and give those moonshot capabilities to Russell Wilson. That being said, that's been almost completely out the window. We've been a pass-first offense and trying to get that going, and we've been struggling when it comes to that. Struggling from the fact that it seems like the targets that Russell Wilson are going to happens to be going to either aren't producing, aren't getting yards after the catch. I haven't looked it up, but our yak numbers have got to be abysmal. It doesn't seem like we get a whole lot of anything unless his name is Marvin Mims. So, this offense has really struggled to put it together. But like I said, second half of Chicago certainly made me feel a lot better about, especially just the ability to buck up, to put this team on your back, to come together, to lead to a win, even if it's against a bad team. This defense, to start off, I said to the very beginning, I was scared about this defense. I was scared from what I saw down the stretch. I was scared that the fact that if this offense can start putting up points, that it would put this defense in a position where they would, the opponent would be retaliating hard and really having to push the ball. And could they hold up to that? Because I didn't think they were pressed that way last year. And maybe it's a little bit of that, but I just don't believe that a defensive team that brings back a lot of the guys, a lot of the key pieces that they had from the year prior or brought in pieces that were key acquisitions like Allen to come in and fill voids of guys like Draymond Jones. This defense has not looked anything like I expected it to be. And as it's been said in there, I've never been in the comments, I've never been a big VJ fan. I don't think we're going to be sitting with him I think we'll be sitting with him for a while. I don't think he's going to be making any early exits as of right now. I don't think Sean Payton's willing to take that plunge and pull that chain and flush what is the VJ experiment. At least not right now, but man, defense is has left a lot to be desired. I sure like what Michael Ronquillo brought up, though. Like I said earlier, I'm hoping that it's a turning point. That stop on fourth down, that turnover late, in order to seal the game. Hopefully that helps, the mojo of this defense, gets it back in check. And as Jody pointed out, man, we have a lot of guys that are coming back, a lot of guys that we could certainly depend on. And hopefully that helps solidify this defense moving forward. So
I have a question on the D.
Yeah, absolutely.
How, ever since we traded Bradley Chubb, who has done nothing in Miami, this defense has really went downhill. I mean, did we undervalue him because he wasn't throwing up massive amounts of sacks? Because as soon as he left, it just went
Trevor, why don't you take that first, man? I'll go Trevor, Albert, and I'll follow up on the end.
Well, I think that Bradley Chubb took away that elite pass rushing ability. I mean, we don't have that right now, and that's something that, I mean, you've seen back in years past. You go back to the Vic Fangio era. You had Von Miller, who was creating double teams. You don't have anybody right now creating double teams. I mean, you're lucky if we get to the quarterback right now. So I think, as far as Chubb wise, I mean, he could never stay on the field in Denver either. And that was a big problem with him, and his production was never lived up to that top 5 pick potential that he had when Denver took him. So I think that I think it more or less Von Miller. I would say it was clear back to Von Miller. That's when this defense really started going downhill as far as getting to the quarterback. But yeah, I don't think it's necessarily just because of Bradley Chubb. I think Bradley Chubb needed to probably be traded at the time he was traded, because I don't know that Denver was going to ever pay him the money that he wanted.
How about you, Albert, man? The downfall of this defensive line, Bradley Chubb, it seemed like we certainly haven't done anything since Bradley Chubb. Was it Bradley Chubb that helped prop this up? Was it all the way back to Von Miller? What are your thoughts on that, bud?
I think we have, we have an average team in defense. And Justin Simmons, we have the players in place that can do it. But if you are only thinking of rushing the passer, and pretty much that is the only thing that we are doing, and we are not even hitting home, there is a problem there. We are not even scheming to the player's best abilities. If we had them, I think, if you put Jody there as coach, I think any of us would get a better results than VJ at the moment. And that's what it is. It is right now. It is pure coaching. If you don't coach the right way, the players to their strengths, PS2, the number 1 cornerback, where is he? He doesn't play what he is supposed to be doing. And last year, our defense, many changes have we had on defense? Even in the last couple games with when Chubb was not even there, our defense was still a top 10 defense. How many changes have we had? Not that many on defense.
No. Like I said, the slide is real. It's kind of wild to see. Graham's just jumping in here real quick and saying Zach Allen has been a waste so far. And yeah, Zach Allen, I remember, being at training camp and then going through training camp. He missed a little bit of training camp. He had some family issue. I believe it was a passing in the family. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But yeah, Zach Allen hasn't looked good. Jody, does that answer your question on this Bradley Chubb? What's your thoughts on this? Do you think it's a Bradley Chubb? Did Bradley Chubb help prop it up? Oh, by the way, my thoughts on it, because I said I would give it. I think we undervalued when Bradley Chubb was on the field, not just only his pass rush, but his ability to set that edge. And that's one thing that I've seen Randy Gregory struggle with. It's one thing that we saw Nick Benito struggle with, especially early last year, even early this year. He seems to be getting better as the games have been going along. But, being an edge rusher yet being able to set the edge, that's something that both Vaughn and Chubb, when on the field, I felt was critical, and it's something that we've been missing. So, Jody, does that answer your question from us three, and what's your thoughts?
I'm kind of I understand why we got rid of him. Were able to get a first-round pick for him, and you weren't going to pay him $100 million. So, but like you said, I think his biggest value was definitely in the run game. He set the edge, and even if he wasn't getting home, he was getting enough pressure, and he was setting the edge. That was the big thing for me. He was setting the edge, and the run, we weren't just giving up big runs all the time. Yeah. Which I thought Randy Gregory is big like that. I expected him to come in and do some of that, and for whatever reason, he has been non-existent this year. Now, to be fair to Zach Allen, the last comment, you can compare his numbers to Draymond Jones, and they are more tackles, same amount of sacks. Are we What are we over expecting, or I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't the big free agent signing. It was kind of the swap that we were kind of expecting there. Always hoping to get a little bit more, right?
Do you think?
Always hoping to get a little bit more. I think he's capable of being more of a force. I will say that I thought DJ Jones had a really good game in this last game. It was probably the best game that I've seen from him. He was obviously critical in that fourth down stop, taking the double team and freeing up Singleton to make that tackle on the fourth down. But throughout the game, really liked his motor and what he was putting on the field. We need guys like that if we're going to have expectations from Nick Benito, from Jonathan Cooper, from Randy Gregory, from Zach Allen, all these guys, man. You're only as good as your weakest link, especially when across the defensive offensive line. And I think that's key. Just really quick, and I saw a finger go up by Albert. Must have a thought there. Michael Ronquillo just saying Vance Jovis' defense is still a problem. Albert, you got a quick thought, it looked like?
Yeah, I have some more stats of the last 4 games.
Okay.
The Denver Broncos is ranked number 10 in offense. So the Kansas City Chiefs are ranked number 9. The Dolphins are number 1.
Yeah.
Here's something. We have 9 passing touchdowns.
Yep.
We have 1 rushing TD. And all the other teams, Miami Dolphins have 10, but that is a little skewed because of the other game. But what about the Niners? 9 rushing TDs.
Yeah.
And they have only 5 passing TDs. But there we can see that the Denver Broncos offense is not bad.
It's not bad, but I'll say this, saying that you're number 10 means you're the bottom of the top third. It's not out of this league, out of this world fantastic, you know what I mean? So you're like 4 spots. Well, I get that. Where were we last year on defense, though, too? It's got to be a complete team. I agree. This offense has making strides forward. Just need to be consistent in the second half. I think that's the biggest thing. So
and more balanced.
And more balanced, yes, and more balanced.
Do we think that also we talked about Bradley Chubb, the loss of Bradley Chubb? What about Shelby Harris? I mean, now that's another name that in the Rush trade that clearly Seattle wanted for a reason. He didn't turn out too well in Seattle, but he made a difference here in Denver as well. And so I think it's just not just one loss. I think it's multiple losses. Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, Shelby Harris, multiple different players were losing on that side of the ball. That's now transpired to this, where the defense is at now, and now the rest of the league is caught up with us. It's what it seems like to me.
That's fair, man. That's a good assessment because there were some pieces. Shelby Harris was a piece, at least for us when he was here. He was a performer. He plugged holes. He was good in the run game. He was definitely the hands up guy. It seemed like for the longest time, batting down passes as well. He was dang good at that. Just a little side note: Noah Fant actually led the Seahawks in receiving yards last night against the Giants as well. So
Drew Lock passing the ball too.
Drew Lock passing the ball, maybe not as fantastic. I saw his stat line was 2 for 6, so kind of more Drew Lock of what we expected, at least, or I came to expect as the Denver Broncos. Digressing from that just a little bit, we got a few people that are coming in, and Michelle's coming in and saying that our weakest link is VJ at this point. Armando's coming in and saying, well said, Trevor. And lastly, Michael Ronquillo saying, well, Russell Wilson is on pace for those 4,000 passing yards. Yeah, Jody, what do you got, bud?
Something on VJ that I think is a problem. He came in here and he wanted to copy everything Evero did and use the same terminology and the same set of plays. He didn't want to switch anything up. And I think that's really hurt him because that's not who he is. Oh. And that's not what run what you do best, put your players in the best position. You're trying to run someone else's stuff and you don't know how to execute. Just because you're running a 3-4 doesn't mean you're running the same type of 3-4. Mm-hmm. You're not doing the same things. You don't know when to call this. You don't know why do I blitz here? Why you need to do what works, what you know works, and I think that's some of the problems.
Yeah, that's fair, man. I did see a stat kind of along those lines and kind of linking with Albert. I'm sorry to cut you off. Just really quick, he has had 2 top 10 defenses. So go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off, Jody.
No, I think that, but I just think that's a problem. You have to. He's been coaching long enough that he needs to run what's got him 4 defensive coordinator jobs.
Yeah,
and Russ had to do a 180 on everything that he's learned his whole career. These guys on this defense can do it. So
yeah. At first I think we were all excited about this easy translation, this Evero style of defense. We were happy with Evero style of defense, but absolutely great point that, hey, man, if you're going in here and it's like, hey, this isn't your system, but it's a good system, go ahead and just run this. Don't expect to have the best outcome from that. I mean, you have to really dive in and you have to end up learning and knowing that scheme inside and out, man, and you're not going to be there, at least probably not year one. So I guess we knew, guys, we've went a lot longer than I thought on this quarter assessment. We got like maybe 13 minutes. We won't have a hard stop on this, but we want to get into this Jets game. The Jets obviously had high aspirations. I was thinking about this when we first looked at the schedule. I think all of us are irregulars. I don't know how you felt, Trevor, but we thought this was going to be our first big contest. We thought, boy, we should get that Raiders win. Washington, yeah, that's a win. Chicago, yeah, that's a win. And then, lo and behold, Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett will be coming to Mile High and taking on the Denver Broncos. This will be our first big contest. Well, a lot of things didn't go as planned for both teams, as now we sit at 1-3, hoping to get back in the thick of things and kind of turn the corner rather than being sitting 3-1 and taking on this team. So, and then on the other side of it, Aaron Rodgers didn't last 4 snaps, and the whole Jets plan for this year completely changed as Zach Wilson was put back into the mix and pressed into action as the starting quarterback. Guys, this Jets team was loaded. They were loaded on offense. They were loaded on defense. And they just went in and dang near shocked the world. Some people think maybe they should have. And taken out the Kansas City Chiefs. They end up losing 23-20. They're also 1-3 as well as they head in. Start off with Trevor, man. What needs to happen in this game to keep the win streak going? Like I said, stacked on defense, lots of offensive weapons. Zach Wilson is probably their biggest, obstacle to overcome, unfortunately, on this team. But looks like he might be capable of doing it as they put it to the Chiefs. How are we going to come out with a win?
I think you got to, pound the rock. I think that's what you're going to do. I mean, to get, keep the Jets defense, accountable and keep them honest, you got to run the ball. I think, you got to pound the rock. And I think if you're just passing the ball all the time, I think you're going to feed right into their hands, and it might be a long game. I think that this is a Jets team that, and I said this at the post-game show on Sunday, that I think they're a quarterback away, and they thought so too. That's why they got Aaron Rodgers. Zach Wilson, he continues to get better. And you want to keep the ball out of his hands and any of their playmakers' hands on offense. I think that's the thing to do is run the ball with McLaughlin if he plays. If that's who starts, I would pound the rock with McLaughlin and let your offensive line do its thing, and kind of mix up, have a good balance on offense and keep the Jets offense off the field as much as possible, especially with our defense as of lately.
Well, and I'm going to make you answer that just really quick before we go over to Jody, man. Like I said, the offensive weapons for the Jets are they're up and down, man. They have running backs, they have wide receivers, they have the full arsenal, it seems like. What are we going to do? And I mean, outside of just trying to keep them off the field, how do we actually square up against this defense and make it happen so that we can maybe shut them down for a few series and stay in front of this game?
Yeah, I think those deep balls, I think that Russ can sling it. We've seen that against Chicago. I think if we can run the ball and do a little play action pass, get rest outside the pocket. I think that'd be great against this Jets defense. Again, I think that if we can get them tired and they're gonna kind of sink in a little bit towards the run. And I think if we can get the ball outside to our receivers, to our playmakers, I think that's what we want to do. Get Mims. I want to see Mims more involved. McLaughlin and Mims, and most importantly, those are two guys that we have to get involved, I think, in this game. Those guys have speed. They can take the ball off the defense. And I think that if you can do that, I like our chances better off with going against the Jets.
Right on, bud. Kenny's coming in here. I guess we got to better brace ourselves. Kenny, he says, "Here it comes, fellas. Hope we are all still friends after this segment." So get ready, guys, in the comments. Michael Ronquillo just coming in and said, "The Jets' last NFL playoffs is 2010. The Broncos' last playoffs is 2015. This is a key game for both teams." Albert, I'm going to start you off, if you don't mind. How does this Denver Bronco defense slow down this Jets offense, one that put up 20 points against the Kansas City Chiefs, one that seems to starting to be clicking? Like I said, they have offensive weapons, they have an arsenal, they have running backs. What does Vance Joseph and this defense need to do in this team? And then feel free to go off on the offense as well.
So yeah, I just figured some stats from the Chiefs and the Jets game. The Jets had 108 rushing yards and 228 passing. With the Chiefs, they had 197 passing and 204. So we have to create if we want to do something on the offensive side, I think we have to balance it out and not be one-sided. Otherwise, I don't think it's going to happen. And if we can stop the run, and hopefully if we can stop the run, and because that is one of the biggest problems that we had, and not as rush as much, the pass rush as much, I think we can do it and stop the offense pretty quickly on. And let's be the defense that we were last year, more balanced. I think that is what we need.
Oh, sorry, man.
That is what we need. More balance on defense.
More balanced defense, more balanced offense.
Yep.
Both sides. All right. Jody, your thoughts, man. Both sides. Offensively, what do we need to do in order to put up points on, some would argue, the Jets have the number one cornerback in the NFL, rather than Patrick Surtain, being Sauce Gardner. They surely seem loaded on defense. They surely seem loaded on offense. But so what do we need to do offensively? What do we need to do defensively in order to come out with our second victory and hopefully a little momentum?
On offense, I said after last week's game, I'm done yelling commit to the run because it's not going to happen. So set Russ up for success. Do what you got to do to get your playmakers on the field. Mims, Moore, McLaughlin, even if you got to put him in running routes, because one reason he's not getting on the field is pass protection. He whiffed on one block that I remember, and Russ got lit up. Got to keep Russ healthy. So if we're going to throw the ball 40 times, which it looks like that's what's going to happen, commit to it and set plays up that, get creative with your plays. On defense, do what teams are doing to us. Expose your 6'8" tackle. Mekhi Becton, 6'8", like 330. Expose him. You got fast edge rushers in Cooper and Benito. Use them. Get after Wilson. Bring pressure. Don't let him sit back there because he still is an NFL quarterback and can make throws. You pressure him, he'll make bad decisions.
Yeah, well said, man. This is a game that's very, very winnable. Zach Wilson, as much as, hey guys, I'll be honest, I was probably higher on him than most NFL people, certainly probably anybody on this panel. I thought he really had the opportunity to maybe be, I've been looking for it for a while. I thought Kyler Murray could be that guy. I thought that Zach Wilson could be that guy. I thought, what we've seen in Patrick Mahomes at some point is going to be mimicked again. I thought that Zach Wilson maybe even had that possibility. But that has not came to play out, guys. And Zach Wilson is, like I said, it's the weak spot on this offense, and we need to take advantage. So what does that mean? We need to bottle up the run, and we need to get him pressured and flustered. If he's pressured and flustered, he's been known to throw up multiple picks, and that's just the type of thing that this defense needs. You know, if they can create turnovers, we all know what turnovers does in a football game. Winning that turnover battle, this defense does tend to seek those turnovers. We've seen it since training camp. We have gotten a couple of turnovers so far, but it's something that we need to improve on, and I think that's something that we have the ability to do in this game. Bottle up the run and put a lot of pressure on Zach Wilson. Try to get him flustered. Try to get him, again, throwing off schedule. This offense is going to have it absolutely heck of a time, guys. I'll be honest. This defense is stacked and loaded. I like this defense for a while now. They've put together a good team. It makes perfect sense under a Robert Salah type of team. That's a defensive-minded coach. And, hey, we're going to have our work cut out. It's going to take a monumental effort. It's going to take that, that team that's all together all game long, maybe a second half comeback. It's going to be a knockout, drag-out fight, guys, so it's going to take all pieces. I don't think you can just say, hey, we want to go in there and run the game, get time of possession. We want to go out there. We want to sling it around. We want to, I don't think you can just say there's one thing that you need to do. This is too good of a defense to try to just pick on one thing. We'll have to be good across the board. We'll have to have it clicking. And goodness gracious, if we could, again, little bit of yak would be fantastic. Maybe a little yard after contact, even on the runs, would be a little bit better. Calling out you, Samaje Perine. I haven't seen it a whole lot, so that would be fantastic. So, well, I haven't, man. I'll be honest. I was a big Samaje Perine fan. I thought he would come in here and he would be a second piece, especially if Javonte Williams wasn't 100% to start off this season. To come in here and Javonte Williams looked just as good, if not better, than Samaje Perine, who's healthy, and the other guy came off of blowing out 3 ligaments in his knee. I mean, that shouldn't be the case.
And McLaughlin's going ahead of him too in the depth. I mean, he should be in the depth chart. And that's the thing. If you think, I wonder if Denver could go back if they would still sign Perine if they knew McLaughlin was going to go off like this, because I'm sure they didn't know that he was going to make the team.
100%. Yeah, I don't think you count on that. Let alone Javonte being as healthy as he was to start off. Yeah, I think hindsight, of course, always 2020, might be looking different. That being said, and guys, I guess a little bit of news to wrap up. What we had, Traycon Smith that was signed this week, which to the practice squad. We love our receivers. We'll keep bringing them in and off the practice squad. I don't know if that's our number one issue.
Saints wide receivers.
Saints wide receiver as well. Yeah, we love our Saints. It doesn't matter if it's Michael Burton or if it's Manhurts or it's
what did I hear? This
little
is
Jordan
like
Humphreys or Callaway.
Like eighth or ninth plaer from the Saints on the roster now.
Possible trade.
Yeah, right. Yeah, kicker with Lutz. I mean, you name it. It's like it is. But I think I know exactly what Trevor's talking about here, and maybe that's a good way to kind of talk about. I know that we talked about this Jets game, but there has been a little bit of rumor that Trevor brought up a little pre-show to talk about in this show. So, Trevor, before I stumble over my words anymore, go ahead.
So the Carolina Panthers, I heard today on Twitter that they've been interested in acquiring number 1 receiver for Bryce Young, and so I would think that right now, again, we're bringing all these receivers in. I kind of wonder if this isn't what the Broncos are kind of loading up for as possible trading one of their receivers. I think 2 names come to mind: Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy, I mean, these guys were shopped around in the offseason. So I would imagine that they're going to be shopped around now, especially I think if you lose this Jets game, you're 1-4, and you're playing Kansas City Chiefs and the Green Bay Packers. I mean, what hope do we have going forward? If we lose against the Jets, I mean, you're 1-4. You're likely going to be sold to the deadline anyway. So I just wonder. I'm sure the Carolina Panthers are going to make calls to Denver. I think Judy's the guy they want in particular, but. I think it makes sense for both sides to move on. Judy's also got 1 more year left on his contract too. So if you're not going to move him now, I mean, when is the time to move him? If you don't move him, you're going to have to pay him. So
Yeah, good point, man. I think there will be, teams out there that are going to be looking for talent. We have a little bit of talent on this team, and there might be some workings going on. If Carolina's already out there looking for that wide receiver, trying to, put next to their star quarterback they just brought in, makes a lot of good sense. So it'll be interesting to see if the phone
I
starts
think
ringing.
Judy shot himself in the foot this week. He had that pass that Russ hit him right on the sideline, and he just dropped it and then just like showed no effort. It was just like, well,
he had that scuffle with.
And then getting into on Twitter. This is a set. He got into it last year with someone, I don't remember who it was, on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Had to take him down because he didn't know how to spell words. Did the same thing again. Couldn't spell words, and then got into it with Philip Lindsay. Then got into it with Rod Smith. It was like, Sean Payton has already shown how much he doesn't like Twitter with Russell Wilson and things, and I just think that this was a bad, horrible weekend for Jerry Jeudy in all aspects.
Yeah, on the field, off the field.
Off the field.
Yeah. It was funny when I saw him drop that pass. It literally looked like he was like, I don't know, at the combine when they were doing like the wide receiver drills.
That's what it almost
across
looked
the
like,
middle, and like you catch it and drop it, catch it and drop it, catch it and drop it. It looked like that's what he was doing. It was amazing just to see it. I was shocked by it. I did notice it because I was watching. I didn't see him in the third quarter. It wasn't until the fourth quarter that we saw Jerry Jeudy come back onto the field. By the way, so I think
I will give
time
him
out there.
He did catch a couple. Russ threw some lasers that were just a bit high that he reached up and snagged.
Yeah.
And you watch something like that, and you're like, why can you not do that for 60 minutes? Why does it have to be like an easy little pass like that from Russ, and you drop it and show no emotion? Like, well, on to the next.
Yeah. He's been perplexing. Alabama receiver that, was one of three that came out with a lot of hoopla. It was, make your choice, make your pick. We didn't make the worst pick, I guess, among the three, but at the same time, expectations were a lot higher for Jerry Jeudy, and I think Trevor hit the nail on the head. I think, that's probably, like I said, kind of before we got on the air, guys, I think it might be our best value out there as far as a wide receiver come the trade deadline if we're forced into it. But we're not going to think that way, at least not yet, because I want to get your predictions on this game, and we'll start off with the Mile High Dutchie. Jets welcome in Nathaniel Hackett and the New York Jets this next Sunday, man. How are we going to fare out in this game? Are we going to be able to overcome? Are we going to keep the streak going? Are we going to lose? Albert, Dutchie, lay it on me, buddy.
We're going to win 23-16.
23-16. And that's on the back of what gets it done for us, man? How do we end up winning that game? Call me, say like an MVP or how it goes down. Give me a little bit of backbone on that one.
I think our offense stays on the field longer. The time of possession will be very dominant. I hope that is going to happen, and that will help the defense stay a little bit fresher, and maybe PG can get his act in place. And yeah, I think there should be a turnaround, and our defense should be getting better. I sure hope so.
All right. So final prediction was
23-16.
23-16. It threw me off because I had Michael Ronquillo coming in here with his prediction, and I knew it was pretty close. He's coming in here, Broncos 27, Jets 17. I did want to go back and because I know Kenny threw up a prediction I thought too. There we are. He's saying, Kenny, my thought this Jets defense is going to win this game with an ugly low-scoring game, 17-14. They shut down Mahomes, so that it might happen on Russ as well, looks like is what he's saying. Jody, your thoughts on this game, how it goes down, final score prediction.
My hope is they build off of those last couple possessions on defense, getting that strip or sack fumble for a touchdown, Kareem Jackson with the interception. I don't know what guys are going to be back yet. I haven't heard. I would very much anticipate Justin Simmons and Purcell's for sure. Justin Simmons big because that allows you to move Turner Yell probably into your nickel cornerback for now until K'Wan Williams is back. That right there is huge for the back end. And let Nick Bonito and Cooper build off of what you've done. Expose these 6'8" tackles that the Jets have. I think that's where you do it. You pressure all day, and if Zach Wilson beats you, live with it. But I'm going to take my chances that he will make mistakes. And then on offense, like I said, I'm not going to scream to commit to the run anymore. That's not going to happen. So draw up creative plays to get your wide receivers open. You have talented enough wide receivers on this roster to do what you need to do and keep letting Russ do what he's doing. 68 comp, over 1,000 pass yards, 9 touchdowns. I know some of those are probably in garbage time when they don't matter, but last week 3 touchdowns when it mattered.
Yep.
Led this team back. Continue on that. Second half adjustments. And I think you can win this game, and then your season's right there in the showdown in Kansas City the following week. Then people will forget about this 0-3 start. You go in and you win these next 2 games.
I like it, man. I like it. Good game plan, like you said. I like the mindset. You know, hey, we're not going to change some things. You know, you fooled me enough times. You know, so how are we going to get this done with the context that we've already seen? So, a doable game, in your opinion as well, Trevor. What are your thoughts on this game? How does it go down?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little worried about the Broncos' defense. That's my big concern. I mean, you allowed Justin Fields to go, look like a really great quarterback out there, a Hall of Fame type quarterback. And right now, I mean, Zach Wilson played really well against the Chiefs defense. So there's enough there that I think Zach Wilson, could very much so, kind of do his thing against the Broncos defense. So my prediction 17-28 Jets. I just really don't feel great about the Broncos defense right now. And I don't know. I think that the Jets defense can really be a problem for Denver's offense. I will say that I think a formula for success, I kind of looked this stat up. The Jets rushing against the rush, they've allowed 592 rushing yards right now. And that's towards the bottom of the league. So I think that maybe this is the week 2 commit to the run would be this week rather than passing against this team. So I think Denver might struggle though on defense. That's my main concern, but hopefully their offense can keep up with the Jets offense. But
yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I don't think that we'll have to keep up with this offense. I think that we do have, from a defensive standpoint, we have the players, the fortitude. We have everything in place with a Zach Wilson-led offense to shut this down. You just don't let Zach Wilson beat you. You know what I mean? You try to let Zach Wilson beat you is what I meant. You know what I mean? That you try to punish everything else and let Zach Wilson beat you. And I think there's a good opportunity there to put up a great defensive performance and keep this in a low-scoring game. This offense, though, man, it's been tough. And the only time you've really looked good is when you've went up against maybe some of the worst out there. You looked fairly good against Chicago, and that's been your best performance, especially when it comes to the second half. Loved what you did against Washington in the first half. Put those 2 games together, you really have lightning in a bottle. But now you're going up against a Jets defense that everyone was ranking among the best. That being said, Trevor pointed out, I think the run game will have to be key, and it's not something we've seen so far, and that's why I'm not so optimistic about this game. Guys, I guess I'll be I'll be on the Trevor realist side of things too. I think there's going to be pretty heartbreaking, gut wrenching, I guess you could say. I think it's going to be like a 17-14 loss in a really, really, really close game, and just going to be a defensive struggle, as Kenny kind of pointed out in the comments as well. So. Kenny's coming in and he wants to do a reverse Knopper's knowledge Kenny, if you get it in here really quickly, I can maybe allow you to do that. We're already just a little bit over on time, but get it in here. So let me see what we can get done. Michael Ronquillo is just coming in here and saying, until Zach Wilson plays a playoff game, we should not have him in the same sentence as Russell Wilson. Yeah, Zach Wilson and Russell Wilson should not be in the same sentence at this point. Like I said, even though I was a big Zach Wilson fan, man, it's not proving out to be a good experiment in New York, that's for sure. Clayton coming in here, and love Clayton. Clayton is a great fan of the show, and even though you're coming in a little bit late, Clayton, we appreciate you a ton. Love you a lot, buddy. He's saying, hey, guys, and doing the thing over on YouTube. Smash that like button and share, guys. Also coming in and said, we got that dub, baby. Let's go. And Michael Ronquillo coming in. Also, Broncos will have a home field behind them. Love that. He came in a little bit earlier, and I was going to throw this up. If I can find it just really quick. Maybe I won't be able. Yeah, there it is. Just let you guys know, the Broncos will wear their white Broncos helmet with the Color Rush orange jersey against the New York Jets. This is the one that the teaser. This is the alternate helmet that they came out with. So this will be fun, guys.
Helmet of good luck. Hopefully, it turns things around.
Maybe that'll be it. Unfortunately, we won't be able to see it a whole lot after this. But yeah, man, we'll take anything that we can get. So, we got everyone just blowing up the comments board late here, guys. So, Michael Ronquillo coming in saying Broncos will have home field. Oh, I just threw that up. So, and man, looks what happens when we run the ball. Yeah, it looks good. Clayton coming in with his prediction, saying, "Oh,
wow. I think he froze up. No, he didn't.
Sorry, guys, that was me.
Yeah.
You guys got me back yet?
Yeah, we got you.
Check 1, check 2. Sorry about this, guys.
It's not 8:30 yet, right?
It's really close, though. It must be 8:15 instead. Sorry about that, guys. A little glitch on my end. So, technical difficulties. Clayton was coming in, though, saying 34-21 us. Nope. We got this, bud. So, big thumbs up.
And that's the thing is so a lot of these players are were last year's team or on this year's teams, and Hackett was their head coach. So if the Broncos are going to win this and make a statement, they've got to do it. I mean, this is the game to do it. This is your former head coach. I mean, this is the guy that got fired. And
wouldn't it be nice?
You got to be nice to get a win against him. And Hackett's going to feel the same way. The Jets just lost that game against the Chiefs, and it was a heartbreaking game. It was a close game. They're 1-3. They want to prove it, so it should be a good battle, hopefully. And I think that both sides have something to fight for in this game.
They absolutely do, man. Here's. Like you said, the Jets, everything. They barely lost that game. Maybe even felt a little cheated at the end of that game. As Michael Ronquillo pointed out, though, Sauce Gardner hasn't been called for a lot of holds. He finally got one, maybe at the worst time ever for his team. That being said, they're going to come in here. They're going to have passion. There's no reason that Nathaniel Hackett wouldn't want to stick it to us, especially in Denver, walk out there, big smile on his face, Probably wearing a bucket hat would be my guess. That being said, though, we did have a few of these reverse knoppers knowledges coming through, Albert. I don't know if you've been researching in the background or what you've been doing there, but undrafted free agent not signed by the Broncos came out of University of West Virginia.
And
number 3 and 4 is
yeah.
Go ahead, buddy.
No, that's what I was.
Number 3, he said he played QB in college and converted to wide receiver. Any guesses so far?
I think isn't that a guy who played one game as a quarterback? What was it? What was his name?
Sorry
again?
about that, guys.
Who? Kendall Hinton?
Yeah, Kendall Hinton.
Is it Kendall Hinton? We usually do those guys that are current members. So I know that maybe Kenny doesn't know all the rules. That might be. Oh, signed from Giants practice squad. Mr. Kenny Sills, is that guy? Strike 1, he says.
I don't know.
Well, this is weird playing it backwards, guys. So
I'm.
Sills
it is.
Yes, yeah, I was going to say
Sills
it's going
it
to be
is.
Sills.
Kenny Sills. All right, man. Well, hey, I won it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to barge in on your Knoppers knowledge and take it away from me, buddy. But I'm happy one of us got it. Thanks a lot, Kenny, for doing a little reverse Knoppers knowledge. That was like he says. Thanks, guys. That was fun.
It is fun.
All right, guys. Round the horn, rapid fire because we are over. Trevor, final thoughts before we get out of here.
Just hoping for a Broncos fight. I want this team to fight. They're playing their former head coach. They got to come out. They have to punch him in the mouth. I mean, they got to, and everybody's going to be against Broncos right now, I suggest, right? So this is a team that's quarterback away. Well, if you're the Broncos, show that they're more than a quarterback away.
I love it, buddy. Love it, buddy. Jody, final thoughts. Getting out of here, bud.
For the love of God, do not let Nathaniel Hackett come in here and destroy your defense, because I don't know that I can take a week of listening to it.
Oh boy.
Back your head coach up who ran his mouth, and to have his back and win this game, and that's it. Hope that Nathaniel Hackett is over preparing, and you're not. You're doing what you need to do.
Love it, man. Yeah, I don't want to hear the drama of Nathaniel Hackett for a week. That would be that could be horrendous. I absolutely agree. Albert, your final thoughts getting out of here tonight, and your final thoughts don't have to be thank yous, because I know that you've been keeping track. So let's get that in there as well, bud.
Yeah. So one thing is, the reporters will have no problem with having the right quarterback in vizier, because it is either Wilson or Wilson, so they cannot mess that up. I really hope that the Broncos are gonna win. And Kenny, great job on the Knoppers knowledge thing. I really enjoyed it, and yeah, I do not know all the players yet. That's okay. Oh, now here's the shout out for all the people who were in the chat today: Michael Ronquillo, David, Kenny, and of course my sweetheart Michelle, Armando, Jeremy, Greg, Eddie, Bert, Leanna, Clayton. It is always a pleasure to see you guys in the chat and be part of this, and we really enjoy it. Thank you.
Well, boy, I guess it's about the perfect time for me to. Okay, I want to see if I can fix it. If you guys want to go ahead and keep going, I guess so. Can you guys hear me now? Am I good?
Yeah, I got you.
I got you.
Okay, we're all back. I'm sorry, man. I'm obviously hitting that struggle right at the end of the show, guys. Albert, do you want to go ahead and give all our thank yous to everyone that chimed in as well? Did you get that list compiled?
Yeah, I do have it.
Awesome, man.
It's thank you, Michael, David, Kenny, of course, my sweetheart, Michelle, Armando, Jeremy, Greg, Sis, Kurt, Leanna, Clayton, and let's not forget Kenny too. It's really, really fun to have you all in there, guys. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Albert, for keeping the list tonight, because we had a fantastic show. We appreciate all our viewers, all our subscribers, everyone that's out there and taking care of us as we try to take care of you on all your Denver Broncos news, notes, and podcast at least every single week. So just really quick, guys, thank you guys for watching, listening to this fantastic episode of the Denver Bronco Roundup. As always, we're presented to you by the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. If you're wanting fantastic coverage about all your Colorado sports teams, head on over to the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. They'll cover your Avalanche, Broncos, Nuggets, and even the Rockies. You can find them on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Just search out Rocky Mountain Sports Network. You'll find them there. Also, Denver Bronco fans, don't forget we have an amazing sponsor, Willow Seasonings and Blends. Willow Seasonings, as Albert is showing off so beautifully, is our sponsor and a fantastic, fantastic sauces, seasonings, and rubs company. I'm telling you guys, Blue Ribbon, award-winning, Colorado-owned, Denver Bronco loving, veteran-owned. I'm the top of the charts, baby. I'm telling you, they are fantastic. You will not be disappointed in Willow Seasonings and Blends. Head over to willowseasonings.com. That's willowseasonings.com. Use the promo
code DBR2023 to get an extra 15% off. It's getting close.
I would sign us off, but I think Kurt's the only one that can do that. So that we don't have dead air here. Looks like everyone's there but Kurt. Did everyone give a final score prediction for this game?
Yeah.
Yep,
I think so.
Okay, well, Broncos country, let's have a really good remainder of the week and see you all next Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, sorry, guys. Coming in late. Do check out Willow Seasonings. I appreciate that, guys. I'm sorry. IT issues off the board. Check out willowseasonings.com, guys. Final thoughts we've already went through. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get out of here. Thank you, Trevor, for joining us. Jody, thank you for joining us. Albert, thank you for joining us. And for every single one of you guys that are out there liking, sharing, commenting, being part of the conversation over here on the Denver Bronco Roundup, we appreciate you guys so much. Remember, keep your feet in the stirrups. Keep your gun in your holster. Keep the Broncos in your heart. And we will see you next week, if not before then. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.